Yeah, Chris Wood hat-trick yesterday in the first half against Wolves, and you might think, well, Wolves are pretty terrible. However, Chris Wood now has got double figures for a fourth Premier League season running. And when you bear in mind he's at Burnley, who aren't exactly the most attacking club, they don't score the most goals, and yet there he is consistently scoring goals season in, season out. So it begs the question, I mean, has he found his level at Burnley? Is that where he should be? Or does he belong with that record in a struggling side? Does he belong at a top club? Simple question. 08717 22
It's such a difficult one, this, with Chris Wood. I think it was a fantastic performance. And in any team, if you're the focus, you are one of the two strikers, which him and Barnes tend to have been at the last two seasons.
Yeah.
I think Barnes was on a terrific run this year. Until injury struck and he's not played for a while. He was just, I think he's on 9, and he's been injured for quite a while. But I think with Wood, his performances were fantastic. It was a complete performance. That was an absolute, for us to see that and be talking about him today, is because it was a great all-round performance. His positioning, his finishing, his hold-up play, which I think is one of the weaknesses Sean Dyche was saying he could still get better with his hold-up play. But does he do much of that at Burnley, hold-up play? So that could be, he might have to go elsewhere to actually work on that, because it's normally he's flicking it on, isn't he? So that's the way he plays, and that's the way Burnley play. But good player, good Premier League player, scoring goals, and I think Burnley's about where he's at. If he's happy there and he's getting a nice little contract, where else could he go? Does he go to a big six club and not play 8?
Well, why wouldn't he play?
But why would he? Looking at some of the players out there. There is some good players out there, you know, in the top 6.
Yeah, no, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Aubameyang can't get a game at Arsenal at the minute.
Well, I mean, he's been out. But West Ham, for example, they could do with an orthodox striker. Would he fit in there? At Chelsea, for example, just if he was that focal point striker, and I appreciate, manager clearly doesn't fancy...
They've got Giroud.
Hang on, manager doesn't fancy Tammy Abraham. Giroud's not going to be there next season.
Yeah, but he's that type of player. Yeah, so if he's not getting in, how is Chris Wood going to get in?
I think Chris Wood's way more mobile than Giroud. So Giroud's had his day. I mean, he's
still a good player.
Yeah, but there's quite a few years between them, mate. If you're looking to replace Giroud, for example.
Well, Giroud's
Giroud's
going to be playing up top for his country at the Euros.
Well, he may be.
He will be.
Will he?
Well, he plays all the time in that side.
He may well do, but we're talking about Premier League strikers, and he barely gets any minutes for Chelsea. So Chris Wood is playing and scoring for Burnley. And he's into double figures for the 4th season running. So what's to say he wouldn't do it at Chelsea? I mean, if people are saying he wouldn't do it at Chelsea, you're saying he wouldn't even get games, never mind score goals. Isn't that an insult to him?
No, I don't think they'd sign him. I honestly don't.
Well, that's snobbery, surely.
It's not snobbery. I just don't think he's the type of player that would get in at Chelsea.
Well, why?
It's not snobbery.
Type of player? What do you mean?
I just don't think he's the type of player they want with the players they've got.
What about his play? What specifically about the way he plays?
They want them to be a lot more mobile, Chelsea. And with him in there, yes, he offers a threat, and there's no doubt I think he'll score a goal, whichever club he were at. Even if he were at Manchester United, I'm sure he'd score goals.
I was going to mention
there will be crosses come in, he's great in the air, and bang, get in. You only have to look at that last goal he scored yesterday. He will get into positions to score goals. I'm not doubting that. But he's got to be careful at this stage of his career. He wants to keep playing. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be at Burnley the rest of his career, but I think he's always looking around the mid-table in the Premier League as his club. And unfortunately, we'll never know if he can score 20 goals a season like some of the other boys, because can you see him playing centre-forward for Liverpool? It's not the days of Crouch, Carroll, right. and you know what I mean, and Lambert.
And this is the big problem, because Burnley play a 4-4-2 and not many other teams in the Premier League do. So if you look at those top clubs, if Tottenham were to sell Harry Kane, would they go for Chris Wood? Probably not, because the fans would want a stellar name. Well, we're going to sign Burnley's striker. It is a snobbery. Whether people like it or not, I think it is a snobbery. If Everton didn't have Calvert-Lewin, I could see him going to Everton. I could absolutely see that.
What about Southampton, if Ings leaves?
I could see that happening as well. I could see him going back to Leeds. He was brilliant at Leeds, wasn't he? Wolves, yeah. But they're no better than Burnley at this moment in time, are they, really?
But potentially they can sign bigger players, can't they?
Problem, I've just mentioned Spurs. The problem you've got is that Sean Dyche is being heavily linked with Crystal Palace in the summer. So Sean Dyche goes. Does that mean there's others who want to go? And here's my big problem with Burnley. It's a little side dish from what we're talking about with Chris Wood. With Burnley, they've kept Tarkowski. They've got McNeil. They've kept hold of him. And they've got a goal scorer who gets double figures regularly in the Premier League. I'm thinking, and an England keeper. Should they not be doing a lot better every season? And people are saying, Sean Dyche, what a great manager he's done. He's kept them up again. Have a look. Have a look at that team. It's not that bad. I think we're quite disrespectful to the players, you know.
Did you see when they were 4-0 up and they took the ball into the corner flags towards the end of the game? So
Burnley. It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
What was that? Really? Most clubs would have been trying to score another one, but that's ingrained in them, isn't it? Don't give anything away, no matter what the score is.
I think that you have to really... I think you're being disrespectful to Chris Wood. I think
I'm not. I'm saying he's a good player. He scored 10 goals.
Oh, you've come up with this Southampton and Palace.
I've no doubt wherever else he goes, he could go and score 10 goals, right? But if you're signing for Chelsea and you're signing for Liverpool and you're signing at Tottenham and one of those sides, you have to score 20 goals, Ed. 10 goals ain't good enough.
Yeah, but 10 goals in Burnley's side where they don't necessarily play attacking and they take the ball into the corner when they're 4-0 up.
Watkins has got 12 at Villa.
Yeah.
Right? And he's not a bad player, right?
Yeah, but they've got a far different style of football than Burnley, don't they? Come on.
So he's got 12 in a team that are creating lots of chances.
Yeah.
And he's only got 12. Right?
So I'm saying Chris Wood might have scored more. Because he'd have more chances. He's scoring 10 in Burnley's side. I mean, how many chances do Burnley create regularly?
Right, because the difference is Burnley rely on their front two to get the goals. You look at other teams, they don't. Okay. Goals are coming from all round their front five. With Burnley, goals are coming from Barnes, Vidra, or Wood.
And that's it.
And Rodriguez.
And that's why they don't score many goals.
And that's the problem. They're reliant on their two front guys to get the goals because they're not going to come from anywhere else.
OK, so let's break that down because that's a really interesting point. So you couldn't just transplant Chris Wood from the Burnley side into the Man United side and expect him to score 20 plus. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Very interesting. I wonder if people do agree with that. I mean... We're bordering on being disrespectful to Chris Wood here.
No, we know.
Well, you're not backing him to score goals in a top side.
How can you be disrespectful to anybody who's in the Premier League and he's playing every single week and scoring goals? The difference is, I've just tried to say to you, Burnley's, the way they play, 4-4-2 you've mentioned, but they are reliant on two front men getting the goals. Whichever two it is, other clubs, they'll get goals from midfield. Lots of goals from midfield. Burnley don't.
OK.
When do you see Cork score? Westwood, he scored at the weekend. What's that?
Very rare, yeah.
He's 6 goals.
No, you made a great point with that. But if we're talking about the individual and the ability he has got, Burnley have scored 30 Premier League goals this season. Man United have scored 64. So more than double the amount of goals Burnley have got. Chris Wood, we're saying, wouldn't get double the amount of goals at Man United.
Well, look how they're shared out. Right?
That's right.
What's Rashford got? 10? Right?
Yeah.
You've got Rashford, you've got 10, you've
Same
got
as
16.
Wood, yeah.
16 from... Yeah, so that's Rashford playing for Manchester United and he's played 30 or 3 games. Rashford. He's only got 10 goals.
But he's not an out-and-out striker.
Greenwood, what's he got? 9 or 10 again?
Again, sometimes plays from the right. In that central striker position, if he was playing game in, game out, Chris Wood, would he get double the amount of goals in a team that scores double the amount of goals of Burnley? Please give us your thoughts. Are we underestimating Chris Wood here?